Come on, say relationships. In relationships, there's that word R-E, that means again. So we have to, again, always be able to relate to our spouses. Relate means that there's some kind of kindred spirit there. Being able to be relatable means that there's something there that you need that I don't have, and there's something that I have that you need. It's called being relatable. Relationship says that we are not just in this together, but we are a part of one another. In other words, if my part is missing, then the whole cannot come together. Say relationships. Now, here's one of the things I want to say to you, because there are 3 reasons or 3 things for marriage. All right, and I'm going to give them to you, and I'll let you go. Number 1, to share life together. This is the reason for marriage, that we share life together. The purpose of marriage is not children. I want you to hear that. Notice God didn't say it was good. It wasn't good for man to be alone because he don't have any kids. He said it's not good for man to be by himself, so I'm going to give him a wife, not children. And one of the things that I'm seeing today in our world, in our nation, especially in the church, amen to God, people come together for the wrong purpose. The purpose is never children. Children are an outgrowth of marriage. This is why I counsel people that when I sit down and talk with them, I say to them, you shouldn't. I'm not saying you can't. You just shouldn't have children right away. Because that's not the goal. The goal is so that we can relate. Because what happens is we get married and then we start having children and building a family when we don't know one another. When we can't relate together. Now again, I'm not saying you can't have children. You can have all you want. But the reality is that sometimes when you don't know your capacity, everybody doesn't have a capacity to have children. That's why some of us have 1, some of us have 5, some of us 25, of us have none. And I realized in the Bible days that it was laughed at, it was mocked at for women not to have children. But God never said that. He said it's not good that man should be alone, so I'm going to give him somebody for the rest of his life he can relate to, whether they have children or not. This is stuff we hear in our world. People are so in a rush. I want to have kids. I want to have kids. And I've heard people say, our marriage is in trouble. And I think if we have children, he'll be bonded to me. Men don't bond to women based on kids. That's not how we bond to a woman. Because if that were the case, amen, if that was the case, woman, then all of the children that you had for him, he would have been able to bond to you. That is not how men bond with women. And so children now are in the midst, in the middle of something that lacks purpose. Because the purposes of God will prevail, not your plan. You know, when we get married, we're going to have 2 kids or 3 kids. This is how we put our plan together. But the purposes of God are not in front of the plan. And if we put the cart before the horse, when the children come and we don't know how to love one another, we bring them into dysfunction. So now we got a dysfunctional marriage and we got dysfunctional children. Because that's passed through your seed. So if you're dysfunctional, what you think Johnny gonna be? What you think Susie gonna be? And so now I'm in a relationship with you, and you come out of a relationship where you didn't have a love of a father, and then I didn't come out of a relationship where my daddy loved me, and so now we come together thinking that it's going to be right. Well, I'm meeting a person that's dysfunctional, and I'm dysfunctional. If there's 2 dysfunctional people, we can't help one another. That's why you gotta be whole when you come into a marriage, because marriage is not about them per se making you whole. Only God can do that. Marriage is meant so we can relate to one another. I'm relating to your wholeness, you're relating to my wholeness, not my brokenness. So when you're broken, now I'm trying to find out how come my husband can't relate to me. How come my wife can't relate to me? Because there's brokenness there.